more I get into this movement, as far as this, I guess you can call this new conscious movement. Um, since the shift has happened, since 2012 has happened, since all of these things that happened in our most recent past, I just been thinking a lot, and I've been doing a lot too, actually. But I've been also thinking a lot and just looking at how things have changed since everybody has kind of woke up. Supposedly, because after 2012, what happened was is that people kind of became more conscious. People kind of became just more aware of the intricate things that govern this society. Because being conscious, like really for real, it's not about like really what you know and all of that. It's more about what you know as far as the intricate details on how this world works. And the more you know about like the intricate details of how this world works, the more conscious you would be considered. And that's kind of like my definition of being conscious. So what I'm starting to realize is that, see, back in the day, I've been studying for a while. I've been studying metaphysics for a while and things of that nature. And back in the day, if you was in, like, say, for instance, the 5% Nation or the Nation of Islam or something like that, or use a Rasta or using the hippie movement or something like that, and you may have knew a little bit of stuff. You say, for instance, if you was in the 5% Nation, I mean, you knew your 1 to 20. You knew your 1 to 20 lessons and who was the original man and all of that stuff. Like you pretty much knew basic information, and it was, don't get me wrong, a lot of it was outformation, the stuff that you may have known. Like it was definitely exclusive information, as far as what they were teaching in consciousness, but none of it was really organized back then to really, I guess, make it into a community or make it into more of a world or a society. It was just like if you was conscious, you knew little tidbits of information. It was based on what you knew, and that's what kind of like made you conscious or whatever. And the more you knew about, certain little things, the more conscious you would be considered for the most part. And then, eventually it got turned into a religion, is what I think happened, and it kind of like the conscious movement kind of evolved into more like I guess like a lifestyle. So it was like, are you eating vegan? Are you wearing your hair in locks? Like how do you look? Basically, is your skin clear and all of this and that? And it was more like, to me, that's when it became commercialized though. And that's kind of like what I want to really focus on this particular episode, is like, because I think that that's kind of like where it's still at, but it's moving slowly into where it's supposed to be, which is, this is where I think it's at now, since the shift has happened and since 2012 has happened, and since all of these things have happened. You now have to adopt a total independent lifestyle of the Matrix if you want to consider yourself conscious. Those of you that seen the Matrix know what I'm talking about. You was either in the Matrix or you was out of it. And if you consider conscious now, you have to be totally living in what's called Zion. You got to be totally living in Zion now, because if you notice, in Zion they had an independent world, an independent government, independent way of doing things. It was totally separate from the machine world. Now, when I talk about living in Zion, I'm not saying in this version of what I'm speaking on right now, because we haven't really evolved all the way to where it should be yet. And that's why I'm kind of teaching on the astral pyramid and teaching you about certain things, because I'm trying to help your mind to shift. So your mind has to shift off of just like the images of being conscious and all of that, shift into really looking at this as a whole total lifestyle. Being able to provide for yourself as a conscious person on a food level, on a clothing level, and on a shelter level. That's what the astral pyramid teaches are designed to do. But what I want to do here is just take this little intermission, because I'm starting to see that in order for you to really be conscious, you have to be totally sovereign. Why do I say that? See, I was out here, right, in this community, old community that I kind of grew up in, because, I'm just going around the town right now and just kind of looking at where I grew up at, because, you guys got to remember, I haven't been home in like 10 years. This is like really my first time being so-called home in 10 years, since I've been in this town of Cincinnati, Ohio. And it's been 10 years since I've been here, so a lot has changed. And a lot has changed for the better. I'm not going to say it's all bad, and some of it has kind of changed for the worse, but I was out here looking for like a little health food store so I can get, some little fruit and stuff. And they used to have this dope health food store. I mean, mind you, I'm in like the so-called hippie part of town now. And what I noticed is they done got rid of the damn health food store. The hippies still here. Bohemian people still here. But the health food store is gone. And I'm like, wow, like you got conscious people living out here, and it's like all of these corporations are out here now. That's what I'm starting to notice, like all of these different. You still got mom and pop. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing really like mom and pop wise. I mean, you got wing spots. You don't even have an all-out vegetarian spot in this particular place where I'm at. And then what I'm noticing is that here in this area, consciousness is becoming commercialized, and that's what I want to kind of like focus on here. You see, like in order to be conscious, if you really want to be conscious, the first thing that's going to happen is these corporations are going to go to war against you. See, I read this article the other day, and it was talking about how it's a lot of these corporate leaders. Because if you notice, this new president that we got, this president-elect, is electing a lot of like in his cabinet, his chief of staff, he just put the guy from ExxonMobil is going to be his chief of staff. And if you noticing, and I'm not knocking him or anything like that, but I'm just saying if you notice what's going on right now is that they're slowly but surely changing. They're changing the way this country works, and it's like the corporations are taking all the way the fuck over. The machine is taking all the way the fuck over to where it's gonna get to a point where they talking about they really want to urge people to stop opening up these mom and pop businesses and things of that nature. Like say for instance, you want to be a mom and pop business owner, you may want to open up a health food store. And they're going to get to the point where they're going to urge you, and it's happening now. They actually said it in this article where they want to really urge people to get back on into the labor force and into the corporate U.S. because the corporate U.S. is suffering, because the stocks and all of that shit, it's like things are suffering. So they want to build up the corporation and rebuild the corporation, and they want to do that at the expense of taking away from the small business owner, taking away from the people. This was in this article. Crazy shit. They don't want you giving money out to veterans anymore on the street. And stuff like that, because they talking about it's hurting the economy economics wise. And this is not an economics video, so I'm gonna go more into that later, but let's focus on food though, because I just want to kind of talk about this conspiracy. See, really it's not about rebuilding and making America better again. It's not. It's really about getting rid of the conscious movement. I'm just keeping it all the way real with you, keeping it all the way 100 with you, getting rid of. I ain't even talking about the Starseed movement. I'm just talking about the conscious movement, people that are aware. It's really about that. It's about getting rid of this independent movement and shifting this independent movement into a corporate commercialized movement. And that's what I'm starting to really notice, and it's happening in the conscious community, and it's happening everywhere. So I said that, I was going to talk about the Alka-Lies conspiracy, and I'm going to do a little bit of talking about that here. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But you got this Alka-Lies conspiracy that's linked into getting rid of the conscious movement, and they started it. And I'm not going to say that's why I stopped eating totally alkaline, because that's not really why. A lot of it came from just a lot of stuff. I've been getting attacked on a lot of levels and things of that nature, so I had to kind of shift the way I live my life, and I had to become less dependent on banks and things of that nature, less dependent on credit and things of that nature. So I had to become more dependent on cash, which means that I have to save more money. So I decided to stop eating alkaline, but it's also a conspiracy. And I want to go back to it, but that's what I want to talk about here, because it's a conspiracy to get you, people that are conscious, to, if you're going to be conscious, you're going to have to fuel the corporate machine. You're going to have to fuel the corporate beast. So they did this shit with the food. See, if you look at the term alkaline, and you break it down, you see alkaline. A line is a lean. And what they're trying to do is that they want to basically put liens on the land, because the land is really owned by the Native Americans. And they want to put liens on the land, the landowners and the property owners and the people that own the land and things of that nature, through having them to purchase the food from these grocery stores, from these corporate grocery stores. And it started out kind of like with Whole Foods, and I hate to pick on Whole Foods, but that's kind of how it started. See, Whole Foods started as a mom and pop, but then what did they start doing? They became corporate. And I don't think they're franchising, but they're still a corporate business, to where, they got franchise, they got different stores all over the country, and they say they want to be bigger and provide food for everybody and things of that nature, but in that you're taking away from the small man when you try to put monopolies on things. See, food and all of that, that's always been a community based type of movement. When you talk about food and things of that nature, that's always been like our staple. That's always been something that like we as independent people have always should always have control. We're supposed to have a monopoly on our food in the local. I'm saying on the local aspect. So when you talk about corporate, you're talking about on a national level, and that's what makes corporate greed bullshit because it's all about a monopoly. It integrates capitalism into consciousness. Like when you talking about food, as far as food and things of that nature, so it integrates capitalism, which is based on wanting more, consuming more, making more money, more. That's what capitalism is all about, and it integrates capitalism into spirituality, which is dangerous, and that's what's happening now. So this has turned. This is linked into the alkaline conspiracy. Now I haven't got off point. So this is turned into a form of trading. You want to become alkaline and eat an alkaline diet, and you start hearing about all these people like Russell Simmons and all of these different famous people. They saying they vegan and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking them. I think Will Smith was even saying it at one point. You got all these people they're saying that they're vegan and stuff, and that's really was a part of an agenda though. They may have been sincere, but I'm saying the producers of the Matrix. This is what I'm talking about now. That was a part of an agenda. That's what you have to realize because they want to make. They like okay, it's people waking up. They know people waking up, and they like we can't sell stuff the way we used to sell it because people are more aware and more conscious. Especially because these reincarnated Atlanteans and these reincarnated indigo children, these reincarnated crystal babies and these star seeds, they on some conscious shit. They talking about reincarnation. Now that's becoming popular in America, so we have to still make more money. The bank still got to control shit, so let's come up with this alkaline conspiracy. Let's take over the small mom and pop grocery stores and start talking about stuff like certified organic, putting terms like certified organic on foods. That's a banking term. See, that's what you have to realize. Like, it's cool to eat this shit and all of that. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it makes you healthier and all that. And I'm not saying it doesn't, but if you really want to go to the final frontier of consciousness, you're going to have to get to a point where you become a total independent sovereign being. That's what the new consciousness. It ain't just about how good you eat and how pretty your locks look, and that's cool and all that. But it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice to be totally off this grid? That's what it's coming down to. Because when they start putting terms like certified organic on stuff, that makes me kind of upset because I know that the term certified goes into. See, I study sovereignty. That goes into a certificate of deposit, which means that as a sovereign, though. See, that you don't think about stuff as a sovereign because you want to think about things as a ward because you are still a part of, you have an ID, you're still part of the corporate U.S. A lot of people, I'm not saying you, if you were watching this video or part of it, you're a part of it. I'm not dissing you. This is hopefully to wake you up. Sometimes to change the people, you do have to shame them. And, you have ID and things of that nature. So, you are a ward. So this may not apply to you, but say, for instance, myself, when I give somebody something, a sovereign, this is all shout out to all my sovereigns out there. People that's in the sovereign movement. I know there's still some few of us out there. Gotta be. But when we go and buy something from somebody or give something to somebody, you didn't just see the thing is like if I go buy a banana, you didn't give me a banana. If I buy a banana from you and it says certified organic on it, you didn't just give me a banana. What happens is that I just gave you a certificate of deposit. Look up the term certificate of deposit, which means that you can go buy 100 bananas off of my one banana. And that's what they're doing. That's why they're using the term alkaline. Look it up. It means a lean or a line. A line is like if I run an electrical line, it's ran from one power source to fuel a socket or an outlet. So if I run an electrical line, this starts at a power source somewhere, and then it connects to a socket. So it's a line or a wheel. So the alkaline conspiracy has turned into a will, and you're willing your land over to the corporations. That's what you're doing. Where do you think they get the money from food stamps from? This is real. I'm trying to keep it real with you on the food thing. This is the next level. Because, I mean, it's cool to do this. I'm not telling you to stop. But this is why I'm saying you need to become more independent and get your own land and start producing your own food and supplying. Then you maybe can supply to corporations from your land, because what's happening is that they're setting up, they're willing, you don't even have the land and you're giving it to them. You don't even own it yet. You never even had it, but it's in your name. It's in your straw man name. That's right. And you're giving it to them. And this happens on many levels. It's the alkaline thing is one level, but it happens if you, say for instance, you go buy a car. See, I see I'm gonna have to do videos on sovereignty now, like go deeper into sovereignty, legalese and all of that. If I go buy a car and I go finance a car, I go set up an account, right? And they saying that, if I get financed or whatever, and they say you're approved for this loan, we're going to finance you for this car. So I have an account. They give me an account number. You know what I just really did? I just really gave them my own money to finance me for a car. I gave them my own credit from the Federal Reserve. That's right. From the Federal Reserve, I just gave them, say for instance, if I go finance a car for $20,000. I just gave them $20,000 to finance me for a car. They get paid up front. They get the $20,000 from the Federal Reserve up front. And then now I have to work to pay back the Federal Reserve off of my own money, which is tied into my straw man. Because as many of you know, there's between $600,000 and sometimes $5 million locked into everybody's straw man. And it's more or less, it's different tiers depending on your bloodline and stuff like that. So that's what they're doing. And they're doing that with food stamps and land and all of that stuff too. So you saying you getting food stamps, right? And it's cool, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking nothing though. I'm not knocking, I'm just trying to keep it real. So you say you want to go get some food stamps because you hurting. And I understand that. I've had food stamps before, so I mean you're talking to a person that had it. But I know if I go get food stamps, what am I really doing? According to a sovereign, I'm really taking mortgages off of land so that I can finance myself to be able to get $200 a month to eat. That's a mortgage. I'm taking a lien or putting a lien on the land. Whatever your name, your straw man name of your land, or your social security number ties into land. It's based on where your social security number is out of. Some social security numbers are out of different federal reserves. There's 12 different federal reserves. Your social security number could be out of one of those federal reserves. Each of those federal reserves sits over a body of land. So you got Federal Reserve in Dallas, Atlanta, Boston. I mean, it's too much to talk about here. I don't want to make this video too long. But I'm giving them money from the Federal Reserve. And that's what the alkaline conspiracy or the certified organic conspiracy is going into. So we was buying these certified organic bananas from these local farmers markets and stuff like that. Now they done put the farmers markets out of business because we're giving a certificate of deposit to that company that was supplying the certified organic banana. You giving them a certificate of deposit every time you buy it so they can go get 100 more bananas, and they was started racking up on credit, on money, and then eventually they bought out the health food store that you was getting the bananas from. That's right. You getting Dole bananas and they're certified organic. Dole done went and bought out or put money into another bigger corporation. They done bought out the health food store. So we gotta, like, if we talk about making America great again and all of this, and I'm not trying to beat up on President-elect. I'm just keeping it real. I'm gonna speak my mind. Like, I'm gonna always keep it 100. Because I mean, I'm gonna always keep it 100. But if we talk about making America great again, it's about empowering minds to be more independent. It's not about putting them deeper into the corporate bullshit, or putting them deeper into the machine, or making them a deeper slave into the machine, and making them saying we should work and work for these corporations and all that. No, it's about making minds more independent so that we can have more people and businesses and small businesses to start businesses, making America more local again, is what I really say. Because that's what the alkaline conspiracy goes into, and it gets deep. Because I mean, you got all this stuff is certified organic, and everybody want these herbs, and they want the ginseng and this, and they want the melatonin and that, and the serotonin and this and that. Those are all wills. You're willing these companies money. Learn how to start producing your own products. I'm telling you, if you're going to be sovereign, you're going to have to learn how to produce food, build your own places, your own shelter. That's what I'm talking about, the astral pyramid. That's going into building. And it starts with the mind. That's why I start with the workshop of the mind. And being able to food, clothing, and shelter, and being able to make your own clothes. Because that's what it's going to come down to, or spending money in your community from a person that's making their own clothes. You don't have to do everything, but it's about talking to people, networking with people. That's why we're going to have to get off of these damn fucking phones and computers and all that and start talking to people again. What is your skill? What is your talent? Let's come together. Let's start a co-op. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's what it's about, because that's why I'm in this community. This is the hippie community I'm in right here. I'm just in a part of it. And you see behind me is a damn financial place behind me. This used to be a clothing store at one point. Local clothing store. They still got one over there. I mean, they're still here. Shout out to the clothing store over here. Clothing store called Exclusive, actually. They're a local clothing store that's not commercialized. But, I mean, it's happening quick, man. That's why I'm like, the only people left that's still mom and pop are like the tattoo artists, hip hoppers. I mean, we're going to have to start hooking up with. That's why I'm choosing to stay in the arts movement, because that's about the only thing that's left. And you talking to a person, I donate to my local community. I've just done it. I donated to here. So I'm not wolf tickets. I'm not selling wolf tickets. I donated money here. You know, and I give my credit here. I'm giving you guys credit here in this area that I'm at. So it's about just localizing, strategizing, monopolizing, so that we can make America better again. Don't get caught up into this alkaline conspiracy, this organic conspiracy. If you got to sacrifice eating alkaline so that you can stack your money up, so that you can be able to build you a business or open up a grocery store, you need to do that. So that's why I decided to stop doing it. So I'm just keeping it all the way 100 with you, keeping it all the way real with you. I mean, if you talking about you really gonna be conscious, it's not about just how you look and the image and all of that and what you know. It's about what are you building. We got to build every single day. And like I said, no disses at any politicians or anything like that. So I mean, I have nothing but respect for the new politician, the new president elect. If you won fair and square. But it's just about making things better again, making things right again, making America great again. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down. I don't want to make this video too long. I'm gonna be making more videos on sovereignty and finishing up the Astral Pyramid series and all of that. Let me go ahead and get up out of here and make it through this weather because I got some other things to take care of. So you guys have a happy Sunday where I'm at. And until we meet again, my name is Imhotep-EL, and I'll leave you in peace.